All right, the boss has told me to start, and I follow Catherine's advice and orders. I'm Julia Kuhn. I'm a co-chair of the Hong Kong International Literary Festival, and we've got brawling in the background. We've started, young ones. All right, I'm thrilled to welcome you all to the Fringe tonight. Poets, students, parents, and I'm really pleased for a variety of reasons. First of all, it's our last night and our last event of the 21st edition of the Lit Fest. For the past 10 days, we've been incredibly busy bringing the best authors and the best thinkers to our Hong Kong audiences around Hong Kong Island and Kowloon side. Many internationally based authors obviously had to appear virtually because of the ongoing pandemic restrictions, but we did also have a fantastic live showing of our local moderators, our local poets, novelists, journalists, historians, storytellers, academics, and nonfiction writers. Not to forget our schools program, where local authors came to talk to students in schools. And our walking tours and workshops, where we invited everyone to learn about young adult fiction and romance writing, independent publishing, bookbinding, Hong Kong's military history, and even Hong Kong's snakes. Yeah, it's been a busy and very long 21st birthday party for us. And I know our LitFest team and our volunteers are extremely tired, especially after 2 full days of back-to-back live events. So my thanks, first of all, go to them as we are close to the close of this festival. Catherine Platt, Anne Barbara Chan, Zoe Xu, Lily Pang, and a host of LitFest interns and volunteers expertly managed or herded by Rachel Smith. There are, of course, also Yasmin and Joseph and their technological crew who've been helping with us. Can we have a little cheer for them? Thank you. So while I'm thanking people who've made this festival possible, let me also, on behalf of the festival board, express our sincere gratitude to our venue partners, the Fringe Club and Asia Society, the Standing Committee on Language and Education and Research, or SCHOLAR, for their ongoing support, all of the consulates and local arts organizations who are partnering with us this year, that is the Consulate General of the US in Hong Kong and Macau, the Italian Culture Institute, the Consulate Generals of Australia, Ireland, Mexico, and the United Arab Emirates, the British Council, whoops, and the Goethe Institute, as well as our local partners who help bring this festival to life. And the list continues. Thank you to Shoni and Arti Mishandani and their team at our bookselling partner, Bookazine, for all the energy and creativity and hard work that they bring to their online and in-person book sales. We love Bookazine, and so should you. Next time you consider buying a book, go to Bookazine before you go online and to Amazon. Thanks to our local, no, not our local, our media partner, the Financial Times, for promoting the festival and also printing our brochure for free. Thanks to Sutton Communications for their excellent work on marketing and communications. Thanks to all the donors who recognize the value of reading and the power of the written work. Your generous support makes the festival possible. Special thanks to Jim Hildebrand for sponsoring the Hildebrand Fiction Series and for bringing the festival to the attention of many more people. We're really, really grateful to Jim. Special thanks tonight, but also in general, to Writing Plus, the creative writing initiative at the Department of Literature and Cultural Studies at the Education University of Hong Kong, for partnering with us for the 2nd year running here with this poetry contest. But now that we have the sighs of relief and the thank yous out of the way, let me tell you the most important reason why I'm so pleased to be here tonight and see you all here tonight. The school's poetry contest is my favorite part of the festival. It really, really is. Nick Wong and his team of teachers and judges and other writers have made it possible once again this year, after a very successful round last year when we inaugurated this writing competition. We have encouraged you students again this year via your schools, your teachers, and with the help of a lot of poets to think, to write, to feel, and to express yourselves in the way you see your place in what is not a very, very easy world for anybody right now. and you did write. Tonight we hear from you and from some of the world's and Hong Kong's most wonderful poets about your wishes. We, the festival board, the festival advisors, the festival team, and I guess the parents and adults in this room, the adult poets in this room too, we know that the festival is especially for you and that it will continue through you. You are our plan for the future, and we know that through you, Hong Kong will keep reading, will keep writing, thinking, wishing, and hoping. But my job is not to tell you for the next 90 minutes how wonderful you are. I hope your parents and your teachers tell you that regularly. But I do hope that you have people around you that help you nurture your imagination and creativity. They're marvelous gifts, so don't ever give up on them. My job is simply to thank you all for coming tonight, to congratulate our student poets on their wonderful successes, and to introduce tonight's MC. So here's Henrik Hoag, who runs the Peel Street Poets, also a longtime partner of the festival, and Henrik will guide us through the rest of the night. So take away, Henrik, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much, Julia. That was wonderful. You covered like the whole thing. That was great. So basically tonight you're going to see two main things. You're going to see a group of sort of experienced, venerable poets who took part in the festival in some way. They're going to perform. It's going to be awesome. But perhaps even more exciting, you're going to see the winners of the Wish contests come up here and perform their pieces. You're going to see the young poets that it's really all about. So last year, the festival ran a poetry contest about urban love poems, and that went really well. So they decided to replicate it this year. And both the years, they've selected a poem that everyone had to work off of and be inspired by. And this year, the poem was Wish by Mary Jane Chan, whose book is that blue one there, Flesh. It won, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Flesh. It won the 2019 Costa Book Award. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by playing a recording of the poem Wish to give you guys some context for when you see the winners of the contest, so you can see how they played off it and all of that. So this is the poem right now.
Wish. I would like to live like the trees. My lover often says, look up, as she admires a canopy of green. Her tree-like behavior astounds me. If you looked within me now, you'd see that my languages are like roots, gnarled in soil, one and indivisible, except the world divides me endlessly. Some days I dare not look at the trees. They are such hopeful creatures. If the legislators of our world look to their trees for guidance, would they reconsider everything? Lately, I've been trying to write a poem that might birth a tree. A genuine acceptance of the self continues to elude me. Thank you.
That was awesome. I always love that moment after, if you watch the recording and you're not sure if you should applaud because they're a recording, but like you really like the piece. And I like where you guys went with it. You went for the applause. I feel like it's respectful. I like to think that she can sense it somewhere. Next up, I'm going to introduce one of the first poets from the sort of venerable category of people that took part in the festival. And the poet is Tim Cheng. Tim is co-founding editor or editing co-founder of the Edge magazine, which is the Hong Kong Baptist University's creative journal. And she's going to share with us a poem of hers.
Oh, hi, I can see myself on the big screen. Wow, that's unusual. Hello, thanks for having me to celebrate poetry with all the amazing poets I look up to and the Wish contest winners. Before I read the two poems I wrote, I would like to quote Mary Oliver's poem, Everything. It goes, I want to make poems that look into the earth and heavens and see the unseeable. I want them to honor both the heart of faith and the light of the world, the gladness that says, without any words, everything. I guess I write poems on everything too. and I especially wish to see everything's correspondences and their interdependence. So the first poem that I'm going to share, which I wrote, is titled Reiki. To give you a little bit of background, Reiki is a Japanese form of energy healing, which is a subset of alternative medicine. I had the honor to witness a friend practice Reiki. It was a surreal moment, so I decided to write it down. Reiki, for Pamela and Mr. and Mrs. Cheng, who share their daily lives online. I sat next to Pamela, waiting for friends to call it a day, for the main club to open. She put her palms together and barely blinked, focused on somewhere beyond the shop window. Outside the dark alley, a mirror. I asked if she's meditating. She said no and lifted one hand, a card written with names, the couples, their cats too, and the hospitals. She invited me to place my palm in the space between hers. My shoulders loosened in the warmth, a wave of tingling down my spine. I'm sending energy to the wife. She's due tomorrow and she's so tiny, you know. I know. Been following the husband's letters from the prison. I stopped talking to make room, thinking of an infant's Play-Doh fist tight around a mother's finger, insulated by a city-shaped wish. So that's the poem Reiki. And the next poem that I'm going to read is called Frog Goes, Frog Gone. It records the frogs I've seen in Hong Kong. I love frogs, I love nature. And this particular poem is about a field trip. The title Frog Goes, Frog Gone contains some puns. Froggos mean cute frogs, as in doggos for cute dogs. Frog gone, as in the irregular verb go, went, and gone. Frog goes, frog gone. 水慳口，香港. Tonight you're not dried and flat, blending into the road. You croak like no one's watching, loud, multiple. Among you, there's this ridiculous laughter, distinct, almost like a mockery, to the itchy fact that our blood is your fruit's food, but a thick green soup of your lotus leaves and children, some of which will never grow. We thought you were extinct, and how did you return? Our flashlight gives no answer, but to review you, stoic, resting on a bark or under a big grass blade. You, so many of you, looking out from drain pipes or swept into a gutter higher than you could leap. So we cup our hands to take you back to the wet bush by which you freeze, unblinking, as if making sense of the tunneling of God's hands before you turn left, then right, then spring out of sight. Thank you so much for listening to the two poems. I'm very excited to hear about the poems tonight too.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, I'm adding the phrase froggos to my vocabulary. I love that cutesy stuff. A little too much, probably. Next up, we have a poet called Alia AlShamsi. Alia is the cultural programming manager at the Louvre, Abu Dhabi. She is a writer and an author and an artist, and her first published book came out, her first published book of poetry came out in 2020. It was called The Ocean Sees Through My Soul. So please welcome Alia. I believe she's live stream or recording.
Everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. My name is Alia AlShamsi. I'm a poet and artist from the United Arab Emirates, and it's a great honor to be part of this year's Hong Kong International Literature Festival, and a huge thank you as well to the UAE Consulate in Hong Kong for inviting me to take part of this festival. So with great honor, I would like to read to you from my book, The Ocean Sees Through My Soul, which is a book in both Arabic and in English. It's my first poetry book, And yes, I will read to you first in Arabic, and then I will repeat it within English. I hope you enjoy it. الشمس ترتدي شعاعها الأخير لتودع بقبلة يوما صيفيا بخدود حمراء في أواخر يوليو ينتصر الليل في صراع العتمة والنور وهو يجدف بأجنحته الثقيلة عبر السماء. تنهار السماوات السبع وتقترب السماء من الأرض. ليلة أخرى أستجدي نومي، أستمع لقطرات الصنبور، أفتح النوافذ لتدخل سماء الليل. قلادة لؤلؤية من النجوم تتشكل في سماء منتصف الليل، والميناء الخالي راح الآن يعكس مجرة. سرب من النجوم على تموجات المرفأ، والأفكار تستيقظ كضفدع في رأسي وقلبي، بينما المنارة لا تزال تضيء مرشدة. Bedtime stories. The sun, worn out, lets out a final sigh, moves over to kiss the summer day goodbye. Red burning cheeks in the end of July, victorious the night when darkness in light collides, and now swings his heavy cloak across the sky. Collapsing 7 skies, heavens descends onto earth. Sleepless hours woken up by angels' clamor. I whisper to my sleep, to this night another. Fingers on the tap, I listen to time trickle by. I open the shutters, inviting the night sky. Illuminated beads of pearls start to untangle across the midnight sky. A pearl necklace untangling across the midnight sky. A harbor once empty, now a galaxy reflecting. Sighs like shooting stars across this port rippling. Thoughts like fog arising from my heart. A lighthouse still guiding. This is the ending of the book, and it's I think it quite fits the ending of this reading as well. تمنيت لو أن لهذا الكتاب أن يكشف عن نهاية، لكنني الآن أدرك أن الأمر لم يكن ليعني شيئا، فأينما بدأت أو انتهيت فإن قصة الحب هذه ستعود لتبدأ بعد كل نهاية. This book. With this book, I hope to find a closure in an ending, but now I know it never really mattered. Whether you start with the beginning or the end, this love story will begin at every ending. Wishing you all a great evening and all the best. Bye-bye.
Between the natural lighting, the bookshelf, and the plants, I just feel so relaxed. I want her study. That was great. Next up, we have a poet who's live with us here. We have Antony Huen. Antony Huen is a writer and academic. His work has appeared in numerous journals, including the Hong Kong Review of Books, the Oxonian Review, and others. He is a research assistant professor at Hong Kong Metropolitan University. Please welcome Antony.
Thanks for that. Thank you very much for the intro, Henrik, and thank you, Catherine, for the invitation. And second of all, huge congratulations to those who have won in the Wish Poetry Contest. So I've got 3 poems that I've published in different places. And the first one is Notes, which was published, I think, 2 years ago when we are having some new banknotes in Hong Kong. So it's really responding to the fact that we are having new banknotes. So check your wallet. I'm referring to those banknotes that you have over there. So there you go. Notes. 1. Leaves are green, rocks brown, the gold-backed metropolis orange, but the performer playing coy, and the other eyeing her red, and a family blue. 2. Our new notes depict 5 themes of Hong Kong. Dim sum gathering, $20. HKD linked to the USD at the rates of 7.8 to 1. A swallowtail and flowers, 50. A Cantonese opera show, 100. The hexagonal rock columns, 500. 3. And the $1,000 note, an aerial shot of Central and Victoria Harbour, someone would capture, risking his life to climb up to the top of the Bank of China. 4. My father turns a stack of hell money into an origami lotus. For his parents, I bow to their ever-opened eyes. On the trees, a monkey family eye the fruits we offer. My nephew or niece, wrapped in a blanket, is crying. My uncles or aunts offer advice to my cousins and cousins-in-law as I busy myself with unwrapping stacks of yellow lotus-shaped paper covered with scriptures. 5. Every day, he throws paper houses, dresses, dolls into the fire. He watches them turn into ashes in case any trace is left behind. So a bit of Chinese wishes over there. And here's the second one. Cantonese proverbs, which many of my friends like, so I'm reading that. And indeed, it's made of a bunch of Cantonese proverbs, and it's really based on wishful thinking as well. Cantonese proverbs. When a sow climbed a tree, you exposed your straight guts. Now you hang a goat's head on the wall, selling dog meat. In the island city, you're a double-headed snake with the dark face towards me. Checking you out, I drop my bucket of crabs as if I ran into a ghost. My ghost blindfolds me. I wish yours would slap the back of your head. You're removing the plank you've used to reach the mainland. The old cat left on the bay is caterwauling. Its whiskers are burnt. And here comes a final one, which is fairly short. It's called Bring Sea. So in Chinese, it's Lou Hai, but in English, we call that mind. So fairly short, and I think it's a good closing. Bring Sea. You call it mind, but in Chinese, it's Bring Sea. In mine, I press my hands to my ears, hearing the sea humming. I see the gulls circling through the yellow of the awning. The beach with brainless carcasses here and there. A sand pagoda leaning, a crab waving its one big claw. The waves are rough, and the boy's riding his first one. He's gone, then back, then gone again. The sea is still, shimmering, alive, boy from afar. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Now we'll be moving on to the contest portion. What we're going to do, so the contest is in 2 parts. There's a junior and a senior part. We're going to bring on through the live stream another poet, Will Harris, who will read a little bit from his works. Then Will announce the winners of the junior portion of the contest. After the winners are announced, we will bring them up one by one to get their awards and hopefully for them to share the winning poem with us. So first, Will Harris, who will announce the winners. Will is a London-based writer. He is of Chinese, Indonesian, and British heritage. His debut book collection, Rendang, was published by Granada in the UK and Wesleyan University Press in the US. And it was a Poetry Book Society choice and shortlisted for the T.S. Eliot Prize, which is a huge prize, and won the Forward Prize for Best First Collection. So please welcome Will.
Hello, everyone. Really excited to be with you from London, and especially with all the prize winners. Congratulations, and to everyone who entered or is there. Sorry I can't be with you in person. So I'm just going to try and be brief. I'm going to read one new poem. I was thinking about the theme of a wish, and it's about the last time I saw my grandma. I mean, on the last trip I made to Indonesia, and she was already quite ill by this point, and we went to the crematorium with her to visit the shrine where my grandfather, who I never met, he died many years before I was born, where his ashes are, and where there's a little kind of memorial to him. And I guess the wish expressed in this poem is the wish to kind of change course. Sometimes it can feel like you're just the kind of last domino in a kind of sequence that is like falling through your kind of family, through the generations of kind of lots of hurt, lots of pain, lots of grief. But then it's a kind of wish that you can kind of like change course. That you're not gonna, you can fall sideways or fall in a different direction. So it's kind of about free will, essentially. It's called free will. Letting the bath run, I sat on the toilet and thought about keeping the plug in till the water spilt, which made me think, if all things have as their cause what happened, how can you change course? Prior will spilling through you, or some unseen drain blocked with gunk. Like in the case of cloves, it wasn't that the smell drove the Dutch to kill and pillage, but that it told them they were nearly there and maybe would do anything to get it, it being what would spill through them unabated. Why do you ask? Why do you care? The last time we met, I tried to smell what the Dutch smelt, the air full of burning cloves, the crematorium guard smoking clove cigarettes, smoke rising from him like the taxi rank outside Schiphol Airport in March. Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty was playing, and after 40 years, you were still in mourning, moaning inwardly, letting every sound spill through and out of you like water. And if I have enough time, I'm just going to share one very short poem. I thought I've recently, one thing I've liked doing is sharing kind of older or discarded work, often kind of things I wrote when I was much younger. I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of nice to show work that you don't think is your best in a way, because sometimes it's more interesting to see that kind of thing. So in that spirit, I thought I'd share an old poem. And this one is kind of about shame. Sorry, it's called Naming. I was myself stone, at one with the elements, at home, say it, home. Words I gathered, sense I framed in form, a whetstone to hone thought against. Seeing itself worked on a different principle, agentless, unmarked. Then one day, a child mistook me for his own bare stone, and there inscribed first his, then my name. For weeks afterwards I cried, still I bear the shame. And yeah, it's kind of, it was inspired by these Wordsworth poems, which are really bizarre, where he just goes around, it's about him just like naming places, often just like carving names onto them, which felt like a very apt metaphor for settler colonialism. And on that note, I'm going to introduce the my selections for the winners of the Wish Poetry Contest in the junior category. And I was just really honoured and excited to read so many amazing poems. And obviously poets writing not in their first language, which is just, you know, extraordinary to me, because it's, you know, they were better poems than many, you know, than many first language poets. And okay, I'm going to go in reverse order, and I'll just say a couple of short things about each of them. So, I mean, it was very close, obviously, should stress that. The quality was incredibly high. In third place, I selected Kwok Valerie Tin Wings, Your Culture Binds You Like a Root. And I loved the kind of control and directness of it, the use of the you, and the way the poem kind of progresses in this very sustained, meticulous, and very brave way, I thought. And yeah, I can kind of just see, I can see this poet going on and developing and becoming, yeah, I can see that they're already a writer, essentially, in that confidence. Second, I picked Tern Kaplan's Starbird. I loved it formally on the page, that inventiveness and the kind of boldness in the imagery, this kind of allegorical subject matter. It reminded me a bit of like the American poet C.A. Conrad, just this kind of creation of new forms, this like willingness to experiment and just be the kind of brightest version of yourself on the page. But ultimately, again, another day it could have gone else, to someone else. I went for number one, Jemmy Wong's Wish. And it was actually the first poem I read, and I was really just very struck by it. And then I went back to it, and I just still found myself very moved by the kind of the musicality of the language, the richness of the symbolism, and just the kind of clarity, the kind of that I love when a poem is just, when it just feels like a kind of music is speaking through you. And it's actually, I think, very hard to have that kind of openness to that music. And I thought that Jenny was very naturally channeling that. And I was really impressed by it. And I'm looking forward to hearing all the poets reading. And thank you for having me. And yeah, enjoy the rest of this evening's festivities, and hope to come there in person at some point. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go in the same order. So third, second, first, and Catherine's going to give the poets their awards. You guys can pose for a picture, and then we'd love to invite the poets to read their poems if they would please. So third place winner, Kwok Valerie Tin Wing, could you please come to the stage?
Your culture binds you like a root. Your culture binds you like a root. It's like a mother's embrace. Makes you feel loved, comfortable, contained. There's no need to think about what to do. It's all written in stone. Just follow. Learn to greet your elders in order, to be courteous and pour the tea. You get praised. Wonderful attributes they are. The root of your tradition crawls into you slowly. You let it. You like it. It holds you in place firmly. You let it, but you don't like it. The worm crawls out from your mouth. The elite club made of men, bowing to your elders until your chest touches your legs. Like parasites, they eat into the vine. A worm winds itself around a skull, and longing, a serpent. Tradition is a gnawed vine, so cleverly foolish. The balance of one's tradition continues to elude me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was awesome. In second place, please welcome Tern Kaplan.
Starbird, clear cut, cropped, condensed, convoluted, Full of naive optimism, I blaze my trail. Forest. Fern-filled, finding my path around over through snags and logs. I saw, search, see, empowered, still full of energy. Grassland, welcoming with wild flowers, wondering what critters in hiding. I dart through the green expanse, relieved with this respite. Scree, dead, desolate, deceivingly long. And so my bounds from bleak boulder to bleak boulder turns into a scramble. I stumble, a slog. River, my halfway point, a light with glittering rage. I skillfully maneuver across, balancing what's behind and what lies ahead. Pride and unease, rock face. Naked against naked slab, unsheltered, inching along. Vulnerable and scared, I take in sights just a moment longer. More water, more air, until I am ready to power through. Creek. Banks bursting with blooms, balm for my body, now nearly beaten. I soak up lovely lush greens, the last to be seen as I head up the trickle. Plateau. Sparse grass, rich memories of summers past. I rest and recover, leisurely launching into the final stretch. Ascent. Home stretch, impatient. I clamber, nothing to clamp onto. Yet safe and intimate, comfortable and known, like an old friend. The pass, standing in the wind, my heart singing, my breath taken. Frosty peaks, frozen lakes, rivers of ice, teeming with silence, not a soul in sight. Up my tent, down for the night. Tomorrow I will journey on in search of greater heights.
Excellent job, sir. Now welcome the winner, Jemmy Wong.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I wish I didn't leave free people for you, letting them walk away. With smiles but didn't quite reach for eyes and a transcendence by a rebel buffet. I wished I wasn't wasting my youth being without you. That history wouldn't prove and stay. That growing old wasn't for the weak-hearted. Oh, what a pitiful, collapsing display. I wish that there weren't any ghosts more alive than I'll ever be, shedding gnarly thorns for unfurling roses as we face the revolting sea. I wish that I could just pick a god and pray to them, instead of just seeing you, with blinding reverence, benevolence, malevolence. If only I could stay true. I wish that humanity didn't have such hands, such designs, such minds. The envy of Eden, what thoughts, what reason? Then maybe you and I wouldn't stumble blind. I wish that the skies were green and I never hurt anybody because of you. Instead, I love them because I care. Roots grow upwards in the crisp fall air. The moon runs an ivory ring. Wheels intertwine and sing. And underneath the fern green sky, we meet chasing after the same blue butterfly.
Thank you so much, Jemmy, and thank you to everyone in the junior round. Can you give them one more round of applause? That was amazing. You would laugh to see the absolute trash I wrote when I was your age. I don't know what they're putting in the food at schools in Hong Kong, but that was ridiculous. You guys are amazing. Next up, we have another venerable poet who took part in the festival, coming by recording. This is Mona Kareem. Mona Kareem has written 3 collections of poetry herself and also serves as a translator for many other authors, including Octavia Butler. So please welcome Mona Kareem.
Hi, Hong Kong. This is Mona Kareem. I am excited to be part of this reading of this year's festival. Congratulations to the contest winners. I hope that in the future I'll be able to meet you all in person. And I am reading today a few poems from a new manuscript. titled Crossover. And yeah, I will start first with the room of escape and leisure. In the room of escape and leisure, the lights are always on. If you're passing by, you might mistake it for the dim glow of a falling miracle. On its wall, a woman with her baby and goat sits still on their knees, looking up towards the sky, painted in watercolors. They pray in a cracked moment as a spaceship is fired into freedom, a prayer for modernity that flies in the wet eyes of a naive monk. Even on the far corner, there are rosaries hung for urgent use. In the room of escape and leisure, there is no God, but believers. 6 shelves, 3 stands, and 4 stacks of butterflies roaming around. Be careful not to dance too heavy on the hardwood floors. The landlord will put your miracle to flames. This poem is titled Obstacle, and I wrote it in the summer of 2020, which is, as you know, a summer heavy with death. I felt that death was in the air, was everywhere, and I wrote this poem. Laying dead on bricks broken by little plants, laying dead between 2 plastic summer chairs, laying dead on the shore of an unwanted ocean, laying dead on stairways that are the sisters of ladders, laying dead in a dream right before it mirrors, laying dead in someone's world 6 feet away after work, laying dead in the warm company of autumn trees, laying dead at your mom's kitchen, laying dead vertically, horizontally, and to the left, laying dead small, laying dead close, laying dead falling from a swing. I want a swing in the living room. Laying dead between bed and TV and window, laying dead by the only window, laying dead at a Greek theater while exiting the abyss, laying dead next to my shadow as an obstacle to people, to ways, roads, bridges, markets, pools, steps, sand, concrete, forests, down, dead, right on the face, left on the fence. And this last poem is from my chapbook titled Femme Ghosts. Also the theme of the body. My body is my vehicle. I drive it recklessly like a teenager, bumping into others in the sidewalks, crossing a red light the very last second. Sometimes I lose my features, a lock of hair or an organ, but find no replacements at the junkyard. I lost my silver lips, my heart covered with grease, my convertible hat, and my left hand with which I glimpse. Like a Canadian man on Monday mornings, I turn it on and shovel away the snow, for no car can go straight from bed to the streets. When an idea is stuck within, I let it roam around the room, scratching the wood of earth, waiting for language to deliver, the choke to go away. What shall I do with this vehicle they gave me? I can't park it anywhere and simply abandon it. When I go shopping, my wheels destroy the polished ceramics. When I walk on the beach, they sink softly in the sand. Small and brown and broken, her window is a record of the wind, her voice breaking in the heat of a rush hour. Thank you.
All right, the next poet live in person is a very good friend of mine and is one of the absolute pillars of the grassroots local poetry scene. He runs and curates Poetry Out Loud, which is the longest running open mic poetry night in Hong Kong. He's awesome. His first collection is over there, Beds in the East. It's the one next to Mary Jean Chan's. I highly recommend you buy it. 11 stars out of 10. It is awesome. He also lectures at Baptist U. Please welcome to the stage, Jason Lee.
Thank you, Henrik. It's my great pleasure to be here. I was here last year as well, so I really had the opportunity to see last year's contest winners read their work. And as Henrik has said, I do help run what is now considered the longest running English language poetry scene. And I do have to say that we would always welcome you guys at our monthly readings with open arms. So you guys are the future of Hong Kong, and we're very proud of you. When I grew up, I was very obsessed with flags. And I think quite a number of us, we have posters of countries of the world on our walls. And I always grew up with that sense of trying to imagine what it was like to be in charge of, my own fictional country. So the first poem I'll read is called The National Flag, and it speaks something of being a transnational subject. And there's a wish captured in there somewhere. The national flag. All the national papers announced it. A new flag to represent the diverse background of the kingdom's loyal subjects, pride of place next to the royal standard, and the gratitude of the whole nation for the competition's winning entry. Though knowing where to start can be tricky, finding out what rules a flag must observe, whatever holds the center together, a cross, a crescent, a six-pointed star, yin and yang, spots, stripes, circles, a rhombus, something the school children will remember. So what to include? Colors, insignias, a tricolor, a hammer and sickle, perhaps a pithy motto or emblem, some small unity and diversity, arranged between tinctures of various shade, or divided up by a strip or band. Next, the symbolic colors, red for blood, green for land, blue the far-flung horizons, and black the might of a united race. But be wary of a flag that wants more than it can hold on to, or much worse, one that is mistaken for another. Maybe, if I could have it all my way, I'd capture the Earth's singularity and sketch the constellations while I move, knowing then I'd contain all multitudes, each bright star, infinite, ungraspable, touching lightly on an empty canvas. It was my great pleasure to give to many of the schools a 25-minute virtual workshop on Mary Jean's poem, Wish. And what I really loved about the emotion of that poem is the way in which it can express so much more than just what's going on in the surface. So I want to finish my, my poetry contribution with a love poem. And this is often seen as one of my most soppiest, so please forgive me for it. It's called simply In Your Absence. I said when you moved into my life, fill the room and the room will be yours. So you took possession of everything and set them to darkness in your absence. They will not forget your subtle grace. The sofa stoops to pick up your weight. The jar shows you its well of desire. Even the letters spread and fly from memory. Would that you had not been kind to them, that you had simply glanced at each object, not turning your hands over everything, filled every cushion with a heart of feathers, made every chord a connection, switched the lights on from each remote location. Tell me then this was not your parting gift, that you had not joined with their reflections. Now they pine for you, they clamor as I do for your presence, for your figure walking through each door, each sudden precipice, each numb footstep burning in the dark, so cold to the touch, so absent in spirit, so full of the love you invested here. They move only to the command of the dark shadow you leave behind. Thank you very much.
Maybe we should indulge your love of flags and make flags for Poetry Out Loud and Peel Street Poetry. Instead of like a hammer and sickle, it would be like a crumbled up piece of paper and a half-empty glass of wine or something. Something poetry, you know, a pot of coffee. All right, now we're going to get into the senior category. So we're going to bring back Mary Jean, and Mary Jean is going to read some of her work. And then as we did before with the junior category, she will read through the winners and tell us her thought process behind it. Then we will invite them up, give them their award, and invite them to read. So without further ado, please welcome back Mary Jean.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's a real honor to be judging alongside Will and to have had the chance to read all your wonderful work. I must say, when I was 16, I was not writing poetry remotely at that level. So congratulations to everyone. I thought I'd start by reading two short poems of mine. During lockdown, especially last year in the UK, I was not really able to write many poems. And I was thinking sort of about poetry and its role and what poems even do in the world. And I started writing these short sequences of Ars Poetica poems. So for those of you who might not know, Ars Poetica is Latin for the art of poetry. And so I thought I'd share one short snippet of that. Ars Poetica. I have been trained to plunder my own thoughts, exploit my deepest resources. But today I am told that a poem is a wandering little drift of unidentified sound, which led me back to the most important thing I'd learned recently, what my lover said on our daily walk about the red-hot poker plant, how I should pay attention to the vivid logic of its colors, how we paused to look, and I tried to listen. The next poem I'll read is a poem I wrote after the Chinese New Year last year, following a conversation with my family. Out. Can I be myself now? I asked my parents in a dream. There is a long silence that lasts for years, punctuated by half-finished sentences. This is how it is with family. One day, my mother said to me on the phone, "We are one body, you know that, right?" She meant me, my father, and her. To disagree was to admit to my desire for cruelty, this severing that has allowed me to chisel a way out. A decade has gone by. I have lived my life. Yesterday, as we spoke, my parents looked at me and simply said, "Yes." "Yes?" I asked. "Yes," they replied. "We love you." The sentence was complete, no longer half finished. I did not merely dream those words. I heard them as if I had never known the meaning of music. Suddenly, I could see the sky again. The months ahead of me are wide open. Thank you. So I must acknowledge that I left my phone on, and my mother called me as I was reading that poem. So I turned her call off, obviously. So apologies for that. I thought that was quite a nice poetic moment, so I thought to share. So now I'll move on to announcing the winners of the senior category. Again, I must say I was truly impressed by the quality of the submissions. At 16, I was barely writing poetry. So to see such mature poets in Hong Kong, it just is really heartening for me. And as Jason said, you are the future of Hong Kong, so congratulations. I'll start with the third place poem. The third place goes to the poem called "I Watched You Cast Away the Wind as Day Broke, and Peace Became a Word I Finally Knew" by Samantha Ng. So again, you can tell from the title, it's a really sort of dramatic poem. And I really admire the imagery in this poem, which is very colorful. There are phrases like moon-stained fever dreams and clouds carried only a rib-splitting tenderness. And so I thought that was really sort of sophisticated. And I felt also the poem's narrative that was very compelling. It moves the reader swiftly from a stormy scene between two lovers to a peaceful tableau at dawn. And overall, I wrote in my commentary that it's a very evocative poem that certainly merits its place amongst this year's winners. So congratulations, Samantha. Second place goes to Wish by Sienna Ho. This is a very short poem, and I think often short poems get sort of counted out quite quickly in competitions. There's a sense of, you haven't written enough for it to merit a winner's place, but actually this poem has 12 lines, and yet there is so much to admire despite its brevity. I really particularly admired the line breaks, which I thought was very purposeful throughout. And there's a great balance between the narrative of the poem and the lyricism of the lines. And like some of the best poems I admire, this poem offers us more questions than answers, and also gives us memorable images to dwell on, such as the final lines. And I quote, "I think a wish is magical, like the million broken shards of night," which I thought was a lovely image to end on. So well done, Sienna. Okay, so finally, the first place poem. I did sort of have to think about this quite a bit because, as Will was saying earlier on for the junior category, it is a tight contest. And sometimes you think, these poems should all be winners and there shouldn't be sort of a 1, 2, 3 category. But ultimately, I had to award a winner. And this is a very deserving winner, Sidereal Growth by Cheng Ivy. I wrote in my commentary that this is a very sophisticated poem, suffused with vivid and striking imagery. And I quote, "Words sweet like lemon pips," which I thought was a great image. The idea of lemon pips being sweet, but also sour. So it's a complex image there. And also a line that says, "Birds sprouting from the soil like stars," which is again a very surreal image. It's not a very linear or straightforward one, but it made me think. And I think that's the joy and beauty of this poem. And these great images contrast very well with moments of plain insight. For example, I quote, "We all have to start somewhere." So sort of she has this great balance between straightforward words and lines and more complex images. And I thought the tone of this poem was very consistent throughout. And also the interesting thing was that there was a lack of capitalization throughout the poem. Even the I is in undercasing. And so I thought that accentuates the youthful voice of the speaker. And ultimately, it's a very hopeful poem, one that is both moving and inspiring. So congratulations, Ivy and Sienna and Samantha. Thank you again for allowing me to judge this year's contest.
All right. It's a good thing they got such wonderful unbiased judges, because I went to West Island myself, so I would have been very biased here, but in third place from West Island School. Samantha, can you come to the stage, please?
I watched you cast away the wind as day broke and peace became a word I finally knew. By your side, I rose to the sound of fading monsoon storms, the shadowed waning of moon-stained fever dreams. Last night, the wind beat its head on every window pane, inflicted with hysteria, full of a bitterness that billowed with grief. Now, through the curtains, sunlight adorns the room in half-toned grace, the dawn composing a rhapsody. Next to me, you murmured a prayer in the early glow, sighing soft, skything happiness into the air, blossoms of effervescent warmth forming starbursts through the sharp morning breeze, your voice merging into light. The sound was softer than any spring song. And in the evening, the rain spilling from the clouds carried only a rib-splitting tenderness.
Thank you. That was excellent. In second place, Sienna Ho, please come to the stage.
A dying star reflected off a well of tarnished coins. Yet the boy does not open his eyes, nor unclasps his hands. He remembers his mother with a scarf for hair, voice breathy. There is light in the end. Then why have I always been surrounded by brightness from the water all along? Among other things, I think a wish is magical, like the million broken shards of night.
And the first place winner in the senior category, Wong Yiching Ivy. Please come to the stage.
Thank you. Sidereal growth. I do not hold the answers to the universe. Dark matter matters not to me. Instead, what matters is the solid hand in mine, the liquid gold of eyes under sunlight, the warm air of starlight laughter. Matter is never created or destroyed. We all have to start somewhere. We all leave a piece of heart in the earth, a sprouted seed to return to, even if your feet leave the ground. The sky unfurls, sea blue, ocean deep above you. The ground opens, glass green hands to catch you. The seasons pass, the tape winding and rewinding. Close your eyes as we speed it up. Your branches bursting into bloom, straining like fingers, reaching upwards, outwards into the sky. How many possibilities does this diagram show? Sweethearts bear sweet fruit, and birds come home to roost, and words burst on my tongue, sweet like lemon pips, every mouthful 5 languages of love. Does it matter that I cannot see the forest for the trees even while looking through the mirror? I have cast my hopes like dice, tossing them onto the tails of dying comets. I have planted dreams like seeds, burying them between the roots of myself. Someday, when the time is right, birds will sprout from the soil like stars.
Thank you so much. Can we get, for all the junior and senior winners, one more round of applause, please? You guys are amazing. There's a lesser known aphorism in some language somewhere that says behind every awesome literary festival that gets pulled off is a woman called Catherine, who's probably powered entirely by coffee. I don't know if it translates well, but please welcome to the stage to close this wonderful event, Catherine.
Thank you so much, Henrik, and thank you for being our MC tonight and holding this whole event together. So it is the end of our, we still have a school event tomorrow, but it is pretty much the end of our 21st festival. So I have a few people to thank. Thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you to everyone who entered this contest. We actually had hundreds of entrants, and it was, we had some judges who did some pre-judging and read all of the poems and selected a short list, and then Mary Jean and Will selected the winners. So I want to thank everyone if they're out there listening or watching. There were so many incredible poems, and like Julia, this event has a special place in my heart. I really love this contest. You know, it's a big part of our mission to inspire the joy of reading and to encourage young writers, and it's phenomenal to see the quality of writing that is coming out of Hong Kong schools. So congratulations to all of you, and well done. Yeah, thank you again. Thank you to all the poets who read, especially Jason and Antony, who are here tonight in person, and the poets who recorded. We had some poets from all around the world. It was extraordinary to have Mona, Kareem, and Alia AlShamsi, and all of the authors who were in the festival. Big thank you to Writing Plus, Nicholas Wong and Vince Leung, for all of the admin that they did, putting this together. It's wonderful to work with them. I'm sorry they're not here tonight. I know Julia has thanked a lot of people, but there are still some more who I haven't been mentioned yet that I do have to mention. Oh, and I do, so this festival, I should say, was our rebound edition. You know, it was about resilience and recovery, wellness, mental health, and obviously storytelling is a big part of that, and poetry. The poems that we heard tonight on the theme of wish also chimed in so beautifully with that idea of sort of healing and redemption and aspiration around the rebound theme. And we've explored it in so many different ways, that how people are thriving and surviving, and how they're dealing with challenges. And speaking of challenges, that we are incredible technical crew who I have to thank, have managed everything so well again this year, and I really did try to catch them out. We threw some curveballs at them, but I didn't succeed. They still managed to sort everything out and make everything work and come together at the last minute. So thank you to Joseph Lau of Cornerstone Media, Talia, Fai, and all of his team, and also to Yasmin Sang from A-Vibe, Charlotte, Edith, everybody there. They are a well-oiled machine, and we couldn't do this without them. So thank you so much. A few more people. Yes, all of our amazing interns. We have an incredible group this year: Amy, Ghazala, Jasmine, and Ryan. All of the volunteers who give their time and energy. You know, we had a festival weekend this year. Traditionally, the festival has kind of run over 2 weeks, 10 days. We packed a lot into this weekend, which means we had many different things going on at the same time, and we really couldn't have done this without all the people who stepped up to volunteer. And of course, they are ably managed, herded, as Julia said, by Rachel Smith, who manages to be in 10 places at once and to have everything, everything under her control. And a special thank you to Rachel for actually showing up at the office with meals for me last week when we were doing the online events. She has a special skill of knowing when you're hungry and producing food, which is essential. So other volunteers. Oh, Holly, I must mention Holly Analfi, who I'm not sure if she's still here, but one thing that we did this year with our brochure was to add in some feature articles, interviewed authors, and we profiled some authors. And Holly came to our office to say she'd like to volunteer. And I said, well, how would you like to write 12 feature articles for our brochure and interview 30 authors? And she just ran with that and did a fantastic job. So I'm very grateful to her. And of course, our staff. Zoe Shu, who just joined in September, but really has done a phenomenal job. I should mention Crystal Lau, who left in August, but was part of this for most of this year. And of course, Anne Barbara Chan. I don't know where Anne is. I don't think she's in this room, but she is super competent, very organized, a pleasure to work with, and really holds things together in the office day to day. So my heartfelt thanks also to our board of directors for all of the enthusiasm and energy and expertise and everything they bring to HKILF. And I must just mention them all quickly by name: Bonnie Wong, Edmund Chook, Kat McClelland, Jessica Chung, Mary Chan, Ravi Matu, and last but not least, our co-chairs, Joe Lusby and Julia Kuhn. And I'm sure you've all heard the saying, if you want something done, ask a busy person. And Julia and Joe really epitomize those words, because they both have incredibly busy lives, and yet they give so much time and energy and thought to this organization and to thinking about how we can make it better, how we can do this job, how we can have more impact with very little resources, how we can improve that, how we can stay afloat. And they put so much into that. It's really, actually, I can't put it into words. I just want to thank them very much. So please join me. And then finally, of course, I have, two more groups of people. I must thank all the people who moderated events. In some cases, 2 events, and a particular shout out to Daniel Elam, who moderated 3 events. It involves a lot of work, to read the book and to think about it, to show up. They do this purely voluntarily, and the success of the event is in their hands at the end of the day, and they always bring it home. Then, of course, all of the authors who are part of this festival, for writing their books, for their dedication to their craft, for making Hong Kong a city of readers and writers. Some of our authors really, they got up in the middle of the night to join online events. We had one author who was missing. We couldn't find her. We were very worried about her. It turns out that there'd been a flood on her street and then an electrical fire in her home, and she'd run out of the house with her kids. She forgot to take her phone, so she couldn't call and tell us where she was, and she still managed to get online onto the call. It was amazing. And then the next day, she won a prize for the Comedy Women in Print Award for her novel, which is called Dial A for Aunties, and it's by Jessie Q. Sutanto. And look out for her, because she's the new Kevin Kwan, and she's going to be big. But of course, I can't mention all of the authors because we had more than 100 and they were all amazing. But of course, we wouldn't have a festival without our audience, without the readers who make this worthwhile. It's why we do it. So thank you to everybody. And see you next year. Oh, we would like to take photos of the winners together. If winners to come down, we'll get a picture.
We'll get you in front of the banner. Catherine, do you want to jump in with them?
Yeah, so with me and then I'll.
So if everyone can come in front of the banner, that's where the light is.
Hang on to that.
Great. Just scoot over so everyone's on the line. Nice and even. Yeah, sorry, it's one touch one. Yep, just so you're in the line. Yep, okay, so and I'll do one with you.